Hello, welcome to Hot as Hell with Chrissy. I am Chrissy, obviously, that's why I called it Hot as Hell with Chrissy. And I've got a brilliant guest episode for you today. I have got the lovely Jules Minter from June's Wish to talk to me about a topic that is one that people often shy away from. But I think that when you hear what we're going to talk about and Jules's take on this, you will be, I think it's fair to say, pleasantly surprised and maybe comforted. Yeah. Okay. Jules, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, your story, why you do it.
Chrissy, thank you so much for the intro, and also it's absolutely an honour to be invited along here today to talk about this subject which people don't like to talk about. So my name is Jules, and I'm the chair of trustees for June's Wish charity. We're a registered charity that was only set up in December of 25. I lost my mum to Lewy body dementia in February 25, and I lost dad 6 months later, in August, to vascular dementia. And prior to that, I'd lost my uncle to vascular dementia and my aunt. So for about the last 7 years, I have been a carer for my parents. Um, Alongside June's Wish charity, I also do policy and strategy work for Dementia UK. And I'm also involved in the future of healthcare reporting over the next 10 years. So I do a lot of work with the Admiral nurses. I do work with social funding. So really, 7 years of experience. I've got a lot. I've got a lot to be able to help and support people with who are going through dementia. Alongside that, my day job is actually a communications consultant. So I work on internal, external, and corporate comms, which is absolutely brilliant because all of that ties really neatly with the charity work as well. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you for the invite.
Oh, of course. So we're going to talk about serious illness, caring for people with serious illness, and death, because they go hand in hand. We know it's a topic that people avoid, particularly the death part, but we talked about this offline when we had our first catch up, when someone has a family member or even they are seriously ill, it kind of shines a light on relationships. Often people don't know how to talk to you or whatever. So we thought we would get together and talk about, having someone in your life with serious illness and death. And I want to start with, why do people avoid talking about this?
It's really that subject which, and I found actually, because I'm half Portuguese, and I found it's something which is quite specific to the UK.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to generalize at all for one moment. I'm not saying it's everyone, but I feel like it's a subject we don't like to talk about. And people do not plan their deaths. So I've met some people who would plan their death down to what music they want, where they want to be buried, where they want to be cremated, how they want the wake to go. But then I find the majority of people are not actually planning their deaths at all. And people are not making provisions for end of life. So by
Mm.
that, I mean, is there a do not resuscitate order in place? Is there a consent form? And by the way, the consent form is something you can go to your GP and you can complete it with him or her. And the consent form really gives your wishes in terms of what you want. So to give you an example, my father with vascular dementia, towards the end, he had a stroke. So dad ended up in hospital. And when I went into the hospital that day, the doctor said to me, I want to put a feeding tube down your dad's throat. And I said no. So because we had the consent forms in place, which I was able to show the doctor, it was absolutely clear. Dad had actually stated no feeding tubes. And so there was no hassle with the doctors. There was no hassle with my older sister. It was all clearly documented. And I'm astonished the number of people who don't have that in place. And
Mm.
it's not just about elderly people, let's face it, any of us could go in the next hour or the next day. So it's so important that we have our wishes respected. When I look at mum, for example, I'm really proud of the fact that we kept mum and dad safe in the family home despite their dementia. In the end, we had about a team of 10 different carers having to come at different times. Mum ended up in a nursing home. And it's quite common in nursing homes for people to say all the time, want to go home, want to go home. 2 weeks before mum died, she said to me, Jules, I want you with me and I want to go home. And she meant it. She'd lived in that house for 58 years. So
Mm,
it was really great that through, and I can go through this later, but through all the help we received, I was able to bring mum home and to give mum the death that she had wanted. And I can often say, and it probably sounds strange to people for me to say this, but it's actually a beautiful death. It was
yeah.
mum's way, and it was exactly what she would have wanted. And even the doctor said to me, by bringing someone home to die really helps with the grieving process because you're
Mm,
doing it your way.
yeah. There's, we talk about this word dignity, don't we? We hear death with dignity, especially when we are talking about the elderly or those people that have had accidents and stuff. But really thinking about what that looks like for someone and understanding what that looks like for someone is so important, and then putting the processes in place to know how that you can make sure that happens. One of the things that I remember, my father-in-law passed away quite suddenly, and one of the things that we always said was that he would have been really happy that it was so quick, because he would never have wanted to be a burden. He would never have wanted people to be picking up after him. And I know sometimes you can't help that. That's just the way that it goes. But that would have been really important to him had his illness been a long illness and he had been incapacitated in ways that he wasn't. It would have been really important to him that certain things were adhered to and his wishes were adhered to. And I think that's, like you say, you said this to me when we spoke last time, and I couldn't get it out of my head. It was beautiful. And that, I think, what an amazing thing to be able to give someone at the end of their life. And I can understand why that would make the grieving process easier, because that their last minutes were exactly the way they wanted it. And let's face it, not all of us are going to have the choice about those last few minutes.
No, we're not. And if you look at mum's death, so when we brought mum home, um, she loved Christmas. So we were able to decorate the room downstairs, which was the dining room, took out all the furniture and decorated it for Christmas. So we had stags outside. We put all the external lights on. The neighbours thought, who are these crazy people doing Christmas in February? But it was beautiful. And then I've often thought when you have a wake, that's when all your family come together and then have a celebration of life. In mum's case, we partied. We invited people over, we danced, we sang, we had a projector that was projecting movies on the ceiling. I was able to give mum vodka and drink champagne. And she'd not drunk and eaten for weeks because that is the last bit of control you have, to clench your teeth and say, do you know what, I'm not going to eat anymore. And that's mum was making that choice, and so was dad. But the day mum died was Valentine's Day, and I knew she'd choose Valentine's Day. So we're watching Cinderella, her favorite movie. The credits were coming out. I leaned across, I kissed my mum, and she took her last breath. So that was to me was really the perfect ending to an absolutely fantastic life.
Yeah.
And but I'm not saying it's not hard. It's really hard. You leave the nursing home, you leave a hospital, they give you a massive bag of meds. They give you some heavy duty meds like morphine. And I remember panicking about when do I give things? How much do I give? They give you the quantities, but you're worried about things. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like the senior nurse said to me, Jules, it doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter. You're doing your best. And you have support of district nurses who can come in, you can call them. Within half an hour, the district nurses would be there to give mum even more morphine. But the first few days, I didn't sleep for 60 hours
Mm.
because the support wasn't in place. But you can get support. For example, hospices. People think of hospices as somewhere where you've got hundreds of beds. They're not like that. It surprised me. They probably have 5 to 8 beds, such as Garden House Hospice in Letchworth, where Mum was, where she was supported from. They send teams into your home, two people, 4 times a day to help with turning because of bed sores, to help with washing. They were washing mum's hair, they were dressing her. They are absolute angels. Now, not every hospice and not every region can supply that service, but you will find by speaking to your social worker, by speaking to your Admiral nurse through Dementia UK, by talking to your hospital, you can access that support.
Yeah.
But the problem is you don't know it's there until you need it.
Yeah.
Because whoever plans this stuff, and Mary Curie are brilliant. And again, it's not in every single region. Mary Curie would come in at night 3 times a week. They would come in at 10 p.m. and they'd leave at 7 a.m. I could pop upstairs, just lie on the bed. I could maybe go for a walk or something, but they give you that support as well. So
Yeah.
there is that network that can help you during that 1 to 2 weeks, or it might be even longer.
Yeah. Well, I've just thought of something, and we'll come back to this, you know, beautiful piece as well
Mm.
in a bit more detail. But what does June's Wish actually do? Tell everyone what you actually do inside June's Wish, and what was
Yeah.
June's Wish?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's lovely actually. So Lewy body dementia is horrendous. It comes with violence, agitation. She was married to dad for 60 years, but she would hit him. We had to remove knives from the house. We had to move glasses from the house. It's a really awful form of dementia, and it comes with the symptoms of Parkinson's as well. So 2 weeks before mum died, I thought, mum can't end her days like this. And I'd remember 2 years ago, mum looking up into the sky and saying, I wish I could go on a plane. And it made me really sad because I thought, mum and dad had traveled the world. She had brothers in New Zealand, they'd got to Australia, they'd been to Canada several times, America. Basically, every single country they'd wanted to go to, they'd done it. But mum hadn't remembered going on a plane. So I knew what June's wish was going to be.
Mm.
So I was crazy. Mum was in a nursing home. She was almost 2 weeks off dying, and I chartered a plane. And I took 13 of us buzzing around the skies. And I was, oh my goodness, they tried to block me. So social workers, crisis teams, GPs, the care home manager said, you're absolutely insane. So my word to them was, I'm doing it. You can arrest me when we land. But we ended up leaving Stansted. They laid on champagne. They had brilliant food for us. The team were fantastic. I didn't even know I could even get mum in a car other than getting her on a flight. From the moment we went towards the plane, she knew who I was. Mum didn't know my name for about the last 2 years. She didn't recognize me. She didn't know who I was. And what happened is she said, Jules, are we going to Barbados? She knew my name, and that was so special. And it took four of us to kind of manhandle mum onto the plane. But when she was on there and we took off, we went buzzing around the skies and the sun came out. And I can honestly say mum was looking out to heaven and a
Yeah.
massive smile. She'd not smiled in months, big smile. She spoke, she drank champagne. It was just fabulous. And what June's Wish stands for is people who are reaching the end of their dementia journey or a significant decline. What we do is we make wishes come true for other people with dementia. And that can be anything. I mean, we're working on one at the moment, which is a lovely chap, and he wants to watch Stevenage football team play one last time. The Stevenage Football Club have been brilliant. It's going to go along there. They're going to put his name on the digital screens. He's going to meet the players. He's going to eat food. It's just going to be fabulous. There's another one as well, which is slightly more challenging, which is a lovely chap who wants to go on a biplane. Now, a biplane is a vintage plane from Shuttleworth, but we've managed to find a plane from Duxford for 7 people on a biplane, believe it or not. And I'm going to meet Duxford on Saturday to make that one come true as well. It's a very, we have to work very efficiently because, as you can imagine, we are dealing with end of life in
Yeah.
most cases. So we don't have the luxury of time. So although we have a very, very detailed process, and you can imagine, I mean, I'm very blessed to have a lady called Lucy Cosgrove, who you can see on our website. Now, Lucy was previously an Admiral nurse. She's also a dementia consultant. She's through and through mental health specialist. So she's the one that, from a clinical viewpoint, has to look at all the wishes to make sure, is this safe? Is this going to be possible? Is this person going to be severely agitated and they're not going to get anything out of it personally? But what it does is it creates those amazing memories, not just for the person, but also from the family. So his wife will be on board. We'll invite various friends, family on board. So that's what June's Wish stands for. So we're a registered charity. We were registered in December, and I just absolutely, it's my lifeline. I just absolutely love doing it and to make dreams come
Oh,
true for other people.
oh, it's so beautiful. Well done, you.
Thank
Well
you.
done,
Thank you.
you. And I think that brings us back to this point around, how death can be beautiful. And obviously, so much of this is out of our control, but where you can put some of that control in, why not? Um, we were talking when we caught up a few weeks ago, we were talking about how was it your best friend had a party? So your best friend was sadly diagnosed with cancer, and then she was saying, I want to have a party.
Yeah, exactly. Because what I go back to is why should you wait for the party until the person has died?
Yeah.
Why not have the party beforehand? So have a
Yeah.
party, invite your friends over, drink alcohol, because by that point it doesn't actually matter anymore.
No.
Yeah, don't wait until the wake. And I just feel though that I've seen other family members where it was out of my control whether that person came home or not, die in a hospital, where really they could have come home. And, you can do things your way. You can, I'd snuggle up with mum in bed, or you can lay on the floor next to them. You can be there rather than dying in a hospital. And I get that sometimes people do have to die in hospital and you do need to
Mm.
have that medical support around you. But it's almost like plan it, have it your way. Have it, we do everything in life, we make decisions. So why can't you make a decision about how you end your life?
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. What do you wish more people understood about death and dying and serious illness?
I don't, I surprise my friends when I say I'm not scared of dying.
Mm.
If I die tomorrow, I'm not scared of that. And I feel, and it depends on what your spiritual beliefs are. I genuinely believe that we do go somewhere else. And even it's up to you what your beliefs are. But I'm not scared of that. And I've seen death quite a lot as well. I also did some volunteering in Ukraine.
Mm.
So I've been around death a lot. I'm also a church organist as well. So I've done hundreds of funerals. It doesn't scare me. And with my father, so dad he was RAF. So his room this time was themed RAF. But I actually saw him in his coffin and I can honestly say he looked amazing. He looked so good in his suit.
Yeah.
And it was just nothing. And we planned the funeral our way as well. We did exactly how we wanted to do it
Yeah.
because we knew their wishes. But so many people I talk to don't know their loved ones, their parents. They don't know their wishes because we don't talk about it. We'll
No.
start the conversation, know what people want.
Yeah. Yeah, just it's a simple question, and it doesn't have to be like I'm imagining how this would go with my dad and my stepmom, right? And I would probably go, guys, not that because it actually this made me think of you. They stayed over here at the weekend. They live in Suffolk, so they live like 3 hours away from me, and they stayed over here at the weekend. And we were talking about getting up and watching the football on the Monday morning, right? And I said, I'm not sacrificing my sleep for that now. I'm okay. You get on with what you want to do, right? And my dad and my stepmom said, well, it could be our last World Cup. We've got to get up and watch it. And I was just like, don't be ridiculous. You've just turned 70, but you don't know. Right, you don't know. I can't say that. You don't know,
No,
but they are very fit and healthy. So I'm really hoping the chances are that they will be around for another World Cup. But for me, we have those open, jokey conversations. If they go on holiday, I'm like, that's it, spend my inheritance. And it's all very, it's light-hearted. But for me, I would just open that conversation. And in fact, when my father-in-law died, and this is more about, getting your affairs and your finances in order. When my father-in-law died, my husband said to me, please make sure you know where everything is, because
Yeah.
we are so lucky that, because my husband and my father-in-law, they ran their business together. So
Okay.
my husband understood all the finances. He knew where everything was. He knew the passwords and stuff like that. And he said, but if I wasn't there and I didn't know all that, mum would be in a pickle. So please make sure you know, especially on behalf of, your dad, because I know my stepmom takes care of all of that stuff. And so
Yeah.
when my father-in-law died, I said that to both of them. I said, you need to make sure I know, me and Stephen know where everything is, what, all your wishes are and everything, because it's really important. I don't want my dad, if my stepmom goes first, I don't want my dad to struggle with all of that financial stuff. And but it's also important to have the conversation of, guys, what do you want to happen? What's important to you? Like, not that I'm wishing
Exactly.
it, but what do you want to happen?
I agree totally. And so the thing is, you could start the conversation with, "Oh, I just saw this lovely, I just heard this audio podcast talking about this charity called June's Wish.
Yeah.
You know, what would your final wish be? Where would you want to go? What would you want to do?
Mm.
Oh, it's really interesting. They took June home to die and also her father. So was that what you would want as well? You know, and so you can start those conversations maybe based on
Yeah.
people listening
On
to your
that.
audio podcast. And we need to start having this conversation. And I really don't understand. People would know what my wishes were. I'm sure people would know what your wishes were.
Yeah.
So it's just have a conversation with people about this,
Yeah.
because it really does help with grieving. And
It does.
when dad died, I knew he wanted to go. He'd been married to mum for 60 years. His wishes were he wanted to go. He wanted to leave us. And he used to say things like, "Can I use my bus pass to go and see mum in heaven?" That was really sweet, obviously, with his dementia.
Oh,
But I knew he wanted to go. And so I was not going to prolong his life. And so I know dignity in dying. I know it's not got through the act, and I know dementia will probably never be part of that. But I do feel like in this country, we do have ways and that we can handle death, and a way we can make choices. Like, me saying to the doctor, "No, feeding tube." And I say, "Take him off all the meds. I don't want him to be given any more meds."
no.
So we
Yeah.
can do things our way. We can choose where someone dies, whether they're in a hospital, whether they're in a hospice, whether they're in their home, wherever they want to be, that works. Then I think it's just important to remember that, though, really,
Yeah.
that we do have choices.
It's
And
empowering.
yeah,
It's
definitely,
empowering.
definitely.
Um, this is such an important conversation. What first, well, tell us, where can people find you? I know of a few people off the top of my head that need to be in contact with you, but how can we support you? What can we do?
Okay, thank you. So we've got a website. So if you look at our website, and maybe you'll be able to put it on the
Yeah, I
sort of
will
blurb
do.
that
Yeah.
accompanies this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's juneswish.org.uk. So
Yeah.
when you go on there, you'll see access to our social media. You'll see on there that we might post maybe on the network that we're looking for someone. Can someone help us with this? For example, with the football, with the biplane, I put it out on my network and I said, "Does anyone know anyone?" Somebody said, "Yeah, I trained on Tiger Moth's biplanes." I'm like, "That's incredible." So he is amazing. He's helping us to make this biplane happen for us, which is great.
Amazing.
Somebody else said to me, "Yeah, actually, I know the commercial director over at the Stevenage football team." Brilliant. So what we need is we need really its connections. So I'd be looking
Yeah.
for people. Please connect up with us. Please connect up on our socials. Please join us on LinkedIn, because that is where I put the wishes out there. Obviously, every single penny we get goes towards the wishes. So nobody's taking salaries. We're all volunteers, and we all absolutely. I'm very blessed to have such a brilliant team, who are all volunteers, but they're all from my corporate world, and we all just enjoy working together, which is great. And let's face it, all of us have a connection with dementia. They say one in two of us are either going to get dementia or we're going to have connections with it. So it's touching all of us. And who wouldn't want their final wish? I mean, at the moment, we're focusing on Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire. We're now starting to push it out to Hampshire. I'm getting requests coming from all over, so I'm kind of extending out. And my
Yeah.
eventual aim will be across England and Wales.
I love
Um, But obviously, we need a network for that. So anybody who wants to volunteer for us as well,
Yeah.
in different parts of the country, I can't go to every single wish. I'm going to need people who can be on the ground. It's a mini event. I need somebody on the ground to help to run the day, to run the wish.
Yeah.
And it could be anything. So it could be anything from a trip to the seaside. We had a request recently, actually, and I can't do this one, but Barry Manilow, somebody wants to go and meet Barry Manilow, but doesn't want to just go to a concert, but actually wants to meet Barry. It's so hard because these people are
Yeah.
getting hundreds of requests, and unless somebody in your network knows Barry Manilow, it's like really, really hard. I don't seem to
Yeah.
know. I don't think I'm mixed with people actually. Mum used to love Barry Manilow, by the way, but I don't think I'm mixing with people who
My
who might
my
be friends with
husband
Barry
and my
Manilow.
friend my husband and my friend Kirsty love Barry, and Kirsty is married to the uncle of someone who was in a girl band. I was going to say the name, and I
Okay.
thought that's probably not the right thing to do. And who
No.
was on Strictly Come Dancing, and
Oh
she
wow.
managed to get Kirsty and her husband onto Strictly Come
Oh
Dancing.
wow.
He was there, and it is like completely irrelevant story, Jules, but I need to tell you because it's like this, that is the 6 degrees of separation thing, right? That is the closest she is ever going to get to Barry Manilow. He was literally 10 foot away.
That's incredible. And it's also, there's me putting something out my network. Does anyone know anyone with a biplane? Yeah, actually, I trained on a tiger moth. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow. So it's those type of connections.
yeah,
Because obviously we're trying to get the wishes either for free or heavily reduced, because
yeah,
the more we can get reduced, the more we can do. So Stevenage, for example, have been absolutely brilliant. It's going to take minimal funding for us to do that. Biplane, we don't know yet. We're still in the planning mode for
yeah,
that. But we appreciate these are businesses and they're being approached
yeah,
by loads and loads of charities.
yeah,
But the good thing about the wishes are, though, it also leads on to lots of conversations. So I spoke to one of the ladies I'm doing a wish for, her husband, for 2 hours about, okay, this is how you can access your social funding. She wanted access to a wheelchair. Oh, actually, you can go to that organisation. I know a really good lawyer who'll be able to help you with your social funding because you're not getting what you're entitled to. So I was able to send an email to her and liaise with her and help her with her dementia, in terms of where she could go to access, real genuine contacts that she can go to now. And I'm happy to
yeah,
help her and support with that. Making
yeah,
your home dementia safe, for example. There's lots of things you need to do to make your home safe. I also do a lot of work with, recently with the fire brigade as well,
mm,
about how we can prevent fires caused by people with dementia.
yeah, yeah, huge,
Mm.
huge. And the piece on the network, I can absolutely understand that. If you don't ask, you don't get, and it's often not what you know, who you know.
I got that exactly. So, we need volunteers in different parts of the country who can help me run wishes as we start to expand out. We need corporates. So I would love corporates who adopt June's Wish as their charity of the year.
Yeah,
And we have a corporate pack that I can send out to people, but I would absolutely love it if, they could organise cream teas or a bake sale, or, every single penny counts. And people really who just want to, some people just want to donate, because, we don't charge any of the families for these wishes. And if they want to donate, amazing. If not, then that's not what it's all about. For
exactly.
example, on Sunday, the 12th of July, I'm doing a 10K run with 16 other people who I've trained to get from 0 to 10K. I'm a running coach. And so, we've raised nearly £2,000 from 16 people doing those runs and believing in it. It's going to be a hot day, though. I think it's going to
Yeah,
be like 30 on the ground in London. It's like 36 degrees.
yeah.
Oh. If we walk it, then you know what? They're on the
Doesn't
start line
matter.
and they've showed up. It doesn't matter. That's what I've said to me. It doesn't matter. I'll be carrying
No.
lots of extra water, I think, on board as
Plenty
well.
of water, yeah, for goodness sake, please
I
do.
know. I know.
Um, Jules, this has been incredible. This is just, it's the kind of conversations I want to have. We need to be talking about these things more. So if nothing else, if people just don't do anything else other than start these conversations with the people that you love,
Yeah.
connect up with Jules. It doesn't matter whether you work in a corporate, it doesn't matter where either. I found you on Instagram earlier, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter because you never know when you might have something that someone has a wish for. So please do connect up with Jules. I'll put all her details in the podcast episode. Thank you so much, my love. Stay
Thank
cool.
you.
Good luck on that. Good luck on that run, won't you? Be careful. Plenty of
I will
hydration.
do. I will do. Chrissy, thank you for the opportunity. And as I say, don't be afraid of death. Get the conversations out there and really start to understand with people what you really, really want and what your loved ones want.
Yeah,
And, call me, connect up with me. More than happy to talk. Really happy
brilliant.
to.
Thank you, Jules. We'll speak to everyone soon. Make sure you check out the show notes to find out where you can find Jules. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.